I think the value you hold as a person is one of those things you have to constantly remind yourself of. It's so easy to get lost in the world and just valuing things that don't truly matter to the point that you think that determines the value you hold as a person. I've been learning the mindset to think that, I add value to the world doesn't add value to me. Sometimes we could get so lost in what the world constantly emphasizes, whether it's the amount of women we have in our life, the amount of money, whether we have a relationship, whether we have what certain amount of followers we have, how many views or likes or comments we're getting. We could get so lost in these superficial things that truly never matter that it almost makes us constantly question who we are. And I think it's so important to remind yourself of your own value that you hold, because you can get lost in thinking that these different things determine, who you are and whether you're worthy, whether you're deserving, whether you're a good person, whether people should like you or not. It can ruin your confidence in a way, whether you think you're good or bad at doing something, whether you believe you can or can't do something, whether you believe you are capable or not capable. Comparison is a real thing, and it's even a real thing for myself, because as a creator, as somebody who both creates content, who both runs a business, it can make you feel some type of way when you might even just be scrolling on Instagram, and it's like you're trying to get video ideas, or for me, trying to get video ideas, or just trying to even, look at other creators. It's like you could get so invested into seeing them have a certain amount of likes, or seeing how many followers they have, or seeing this and seeing that, and it can make you almost lose track of your own self, because then it's like you get caught up in comparing, and you're like, dang, well, I must be doing something wrong. I must not be as good as them. They must got something I don't have. And it's like we do that in anything in life. Again, with money, friends, validation, whether we're a popular person, how many people like us, whether certain things get approved, whether we face rejection, what result we get. It's like we invest our value so much into things that truly don't really determine it. And this is why I'm so big on, your value is something you have to know for yourself. You have to know who you are as a person, and what's really within you. And what do I really mean by that? Because I know some of y'all might be confused on what exactly that means. Value to me is really just knowing who you are as a person, understanding that these things don't determine what you're capable of or what you can and can't do. I'll say, for example, when I first started making YouTube and just TikTok and everything, I used to look at, the things that didn't really matter. Actually, when I first started out, I really didn't care about anything. I saw something within me where I was like, I feel like this can help people. I feel like this can truly change certain people's lives. And, it started off slow. I wasn't getting the amount of views I wanted. I wasn't seeing the likes I wanted. I wasn't seeing the comments and stuff. But then it started eventually ramping. And it was like, at one point in time, I was happy to get 1,000 views on TikTok. At one point in time, I was happy to get 500 views on TikTok. At one point, I was happy to just see 1 or 2 comments, and just the fact that I was able to impact people's lives. And then it's like, the more you go up in the rank, but the more you get, the more you think there's no value in the lower tier things, or the lesser amount of views and stuff like that. And again, I'm just speaking from my own personal story. Apply this to your life as it may fit. But I know for myself, I used to not care about views and stuff until I started getting a lot of views. And then as my views went up and down at times, I used to think, oh, I must not be good if they were low. But then I was like, oh, if it's high, I must be doing something good, or I must be a good creator. I must know what I'm talking about. I'm capable of helping people. But if it was low, I was like, maybe this isn't made out for me. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't the path. Maybe this isn't my purpose. Maybe I should give up. Maybe I should quit. And it was like, I had to get out of my mindset of thinking that these different things determine me, because the world constantly emphasizes to us we need to value these things, because the world is so caught up in attaching their value and their worth and who they are as a person, their ego and their purpose and their self-worth to these things outside of who they are. It's like they only know who they are because of the results they gotten. They only believe they're good at something because of the results it's gotten them. They only believe they're good enough because of the approval and validation from other people. They only believe they're attractive because they have this amount of women or these amount of men on them. But it's like the moment, here's the danger of investing yourself into those things. The moment those things go away, the moments those things go negative, or you end up failing or you face rejection, now it has the ability and the power to control your perception of yourself. So it's like, if I get rejected, that must mean I'm ugly, or that must mean I'm not good enough, or that must mean I'm not an interesting person, I'm not a valuable person. If I fail, it must mean I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I'm not good enough, or this isn't for me. Or if I don't get a certain amount of views, maybe this isn't for me, maybe it's not my purpose, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, when it has that power, when it has that control over you, then it has the ability to make you fluctuate up and down. And I would argue that you really shouldn't even invest like your confidence and your self-esteem into it to where it has the ability to take you up, because sometimes, again, what can take you up with your ego can also bring you right back down. And so I think it's good to just know, like, yes, I get these certain results, but they don't define who I am as a person. I'm a very humble person. I kind of am constantly trying to be that type of person to where none of this defines me. None of this makes me better than anybody. None of this makes me any less than anybody. None of this determines how I should treat other people, or if I should be more cautious of the people I talk to and stuff like that, or if I should only talk to people who are in similar positions to me. I try not to view my world from the lens of these different things that I might have, whether it's money, whether it's fame, whether it's validation from other people, whether it's people looking up to me. I try not to let that make me shape how I live my life. I try and treat everybody how I wish to be treated, but also treat everybody like with a chance, essentially, like not making people want to come to me or trying to be like, oh, they should approach me. Like, no, I try and treat everybody with respect. I try and treat everybody fairly, because I think none of this defines me. Again, like, I'm no better than anybody and nobody's no better than me. But I feel like in this world, especially in just this day and age, a lot of people are just seeking out validation. It's like a lot of people are so lost in knowing if who they really are as a person is truly good enough. It's like we're in a day and age where we compare to everybody to the point that we try and just fit in with how everybody else tends to be. Like, it's almost like a lifestyle is a trend. The amount of followers you have, the type of lifestyle you live, the language you might use, the music you listen to. It's like we're all just a lot of people are just trying to align with the crowd so that they don't stand out and look different from everybody else. And I feel like that's an easy way to really lose your true authentic self. And I think that's why so many of us struggle in life, because so many people are trying so hard to be somebody that they were never meant to be. And you're always going to struggle, because at that point you're always trying to guess the person that you have to be, because it's not coming authentically. And it's like every time you get a bit of authenticity, you do your best to hide it, or you question it because you're not sure if you're allowed to show that part of you. It's like we're so afraid to be seen for our flaws, for our mistakes. And I honestly would say, like, it's a fair point, because sometimes our authenticity does get us rejection. Sometimes it doesn't get us the results that we want. Sometimes it gets us, our feelings hurt, or it gets us emotionally upset or whatever. And so, yeah, that moment might have hurt, but it shouldn't cost you the relationship or you showing up as yourself. I feel like that's something that you more so got to get comfortable with, facing that pain instead of letting the pain change who you are as a person. Because you're going to face rejection so many times in life. You're going to realize that you're not for everybody and that not everybody's for you. You're going to fail multiple times in life. You're going to get rejected in life. People aren't going to approve of the person that you are. Again, like I said in my last video, sometimes you got to get rejected and denied by the 80% of life in order to find the 20% of people and things and opportunities that truly are for you. But I feel like in those rejections and people not accepting you and people deciding to walk in and out of your life and not see your value, you can't allow that to change the person that you show up as, because I feel like, again, that's how you end up losing yourself, because now it's a thing of who do I need to be rather than who am I really. And that's why I feel like I hate Instagram so much, because Instagram really has no benefit to it. And social media in general, because it's just, you see so many different opinions that it's like it's never clear on whether your life is a good life or not. You're never clear on whether it's okay to be where you are. You're never sure on there's always a sense of like doubt. There's always a sense of self-questioning. There's always a sense of, again, attaching your worth to it. And it's like if I truly didn't have to post and create content on Instagram, I honestly would say I wouldn't be on it, because it's just such a toxic app. And sometimes it's not even consciously doing it. It's sometimes just a subconscious feeling of, oh, I'm behind in life, because you see somebody else that's further ahead than you are. Or you might even get a sense of, oh, I'm doing better than most people. Or you might get a sense of, oh, I'm getting this amount of likes, so that must mean everybody likes me or they approve of me and stuff. And it's like, you do these things subconsciously. Like every time you post, you're like questioning how it's going to be perceived by other people and how other people are going to receive it, what they're going to think of it. It's like, it makes you think about things that if you were without that app, you wouldn't normally think about. But it's like, in just the Instagram culture and how people talk about it, and how people hype it up and stuff, it's like, you could get so lost in other people's opinions, how you're perceived, how you come off. It's like you question everything so much more, because that's how people have told you need to use that app, or that's just kind of the culture that's been developed on it. It's like everything's a competition to make sure like you're not seen in a negative way in the eyes of others, or you don't want people to see a part of you that might be negative or might have flaws or might be insecure or whatever. It's like you're only allowed to show your highlights and what's going good in your life and when you get achievements, but you're not allowed to show your lowlights, because now people dehumanize you, and the fact that you might have feelings or emotions or flaws and imperfections and stuff. And so the app as a whole, in my opinion, is just kind of, it can really just send you down a bad path. And it sent me down a bad path in my past, to where I saw like how it kind of made me compare to other people. And that's why, again, I say knowing your value is something you have to constantly remind yourself of, because it can be so easy to start thinking in a mindset and thinking in a way to where it's like, hold up, I'm not doing this for these people. I'm not doing this for approval. I'm not doing this for how it looks to other people. I'm doing this for me. And that's why I think it's so important to also just like have your own values in life, because you got to understand why you live the life that you do, and understand that everybody may not agree with it. Like, again, everybody has their own values, but when you understand why you value the things of which you do, then you become a lot more confident and you become a lot more firm and clear on the decisions that you make in your life. Because I've said this in previous videos, where it's like, everybody may not agree with your music taste, everybody may not agree with your lifestyle or understand why you live the life that you do, but it's like, when you understand it, then other people's opinions and their values don't kind of rub off on you. Like, sometimes, again, we question like, am I doing this the right way? Should I change who I am? Am I not a cool person? And it's like, you got to look at it from your lens. How does this make me feel? Does this make me happy? Does this bring me peace? Is this something I enjoy that they simply may not enjoy? Because again, not everybody's for you. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Not everybody going to see the vision for your life that you see for your life. Because honestly, in you being unique, in you being different from everybody else, that's how you stand out in the world. That's how you make your own unique impact on the world. Because there's certain things in this world that you are specifically only capable of doing. There's an impact on a person, an opportunity. There's something that you might create that only you're capable of doing it in that way, because of the person that you are and your own creativeness and just your own personality and your own values. But I feel like if you get in this mindset of trying to, again, align with the rest of the world and just be like everybody else, you lose that uniqueness, because now you're like everybody else. Now you're thinking from the perspective of, what would everybody else do, instead of what would I do in the situation, regardless of other people's opinions. But for those of y'all who might be wondering, like, Will, how do you truly stay firm and like knowing your value, knowing your worth, and like, not questioning it as much? And I feel like for myself, as I've been building my relationship with God and just understanding, like, there is nothing externally that determines whether I'm deserving of love. There is nothing, no sin, there is no flaw of mine that says, you know, I'm not deserving of forgiveness or deserving of, again, love and just like, you know, having value. You know, I'm always valuable. You know, a big thing that people question about themselves is if they're good enough, essentially. And, you know, I've developed the mindset recently to just know, like, God wouldn't have put me on this earth if I wasn't good enough. If I wasn't good enough, if I wasn't ready enough, if I wasn't prepared enough, he wouldn't have put me here on this earth. So the fact that he decided, you know, you're good enough to put into this world, or, you know, you're going into this world, that shows like, you know, I was ready. I was good enough in his eyes to be able to go out and serve my purpose, to be able to go out here and provide value to the world, to be able to go out here and make an impact and, you know, glorify him in any type of way, whether it's through my content, whether it's through my relationships, through whatever. That in itself shows like you are good enough. So if you are here on this earth, you already are good enough. You were good enough the moment you were born, and there is nothing that can take away or add to that. And so, you know, stop externalizing that and realize that you are put here and that it's just as you are. You're good enough as you are. There's no amount of, you know, validation, approval, rejection, acceptance, success, money that adds to your worth and, you know, how much you're good enough as a person. And if you feel like your self-worth and just your relationship with yourself is something that you heavily struggle with in general, I just released a 7-day series, video series called The Reset. That is going to be the first link down in the description. So whether you're struggling to connect or you feel like you lost yourself due to loss of somebody else, you feel like you've been trying to rebuild your worth and you just have no idea where to start, you feel like you've been stuck in life and you've been trying to change certain areas of yourself and you just have no idea what steps that you need to take, that video series is going to help you out tremendously. But, you know, I love and appreciate you guys always. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notices. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Peace.